A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Hello, Clarice. It's Seismic Cinema. So put your feet up as you wait for your friend to arrive. Grab your fool's gold. I'll explain that reference later, Paul, if you don't know it. And we're going to try and get the lambs to stop screaming for the next hour and 20 minutes.
What a weird trio of things.
Did you understand the reference?
Yes, because I watched the movie. Iron sulfide. Come on, man. Come on.
I'm just checking you got it because it's the sort of thing I would normally have missed. So we're Seismic Cinema. I'm Colin, and I have probably not seen it, although I've been adding to my repertoire over the last year while we've been doing the podcast. And Paul has probably watched this in the wrong order. He's probably watched one of the. Is there a sequel? I know there's a TV show.
Oh, there's plenty of movies after this, yeah. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
And prequels, yeah, like you're saying.
So you've probably watched them in the wrong order. So just to, before we get into it, to let you know where you can find us, if I can press the right side of my mouse. This is a pressure situation. Yep, so we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Paul is in charge of the TikToks. So make sure you follow there and check out our stuff. And you can also subscribe to us or follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other good places where we listen to podcasts. We've also got a website, which I need to get my finger out and do some more work on, which is seismiccinema.com, which is finally up and running after an email verification issue. And we also have a Buy Me a Coffee page and a subscription service on Spotify for podcasters. And that sounds like a Tamagotchi in the background.
A Tamagotchi in the background, what?
Sienna got one for her birthday. I think that's a beeping in his head, I think.
Oh, I didn't hear it. I was wondering what you're talking about there. No, you're doing a cracking job behind the scenes, Colin, with all the socials and the getting the website up and running. So I take my hat off to you because I wouldn't be able to do any of that. I just faff about on TikTok and sometimes make a video if I feel like it.
Now you do a great job with all the images for the podcasts and checking out everyone else's podcasts and all that.
Yes. But anyway, back to the main event. Welcome to another criminally insane episode of Seismic Cinema, which is part of our Jump Scare June, where last week we reviewed The Thing, the original, featuring Kurt Russell, and it's done pretty well so far, featuring James Patterson, a good regular guest, and had a really fun time doing that. And I'm going to try and get my finger out and do my hand at a wee bit of amateur filmmaking for a couple of promo vids for The Thing, just because I felt like it, and I've got plans up my sleeve. Neil Boyle, I hope he'll be impressed. And we're hoping to record on Sunday this week as well with Mike and Tabs from the Grey's Taproom podcast on the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not the honking one from 2022. Which
I've actually seen that one. That was my introduction to the franchise, and it was god awful, but funny.
Yeah.
Wasn't meant to be. I just remember me and Alien were just laughing at it the whole way through.
Yeah. But I'm sure we'll rip into it in a good one on Sunday. So yeah, hopefully it'll be good. But yeah, so this week we are doing Silence of the Lambs from 1991, which is a good vintage year. That's the year me and Mr. Colin here were born. Good vintage year.
You're about to give away my secret identity there.
I was going to say you're fooling him, and I thought I better know, even though you can see it in the socials.
Isn't it sad that we're now at the age where the movies that came out in the year we were born are considered like kind of classics now?
No, I'm looking at it going, looks all right, and I'm looking, this is like our era now.
At least we were literally just born, or depending on the month, maybe not born. So we weren't really about when it was on.
No, but it's been around all these years, and this is your first time watching it. Is that correct?
It is. I've heard of it for years. it's one that we've had on a kind of short list of things to review because remember we made that list on the Google Doc. So it's been one I've been waiting to watch for a while, just looking for the right opportunity. And it was actually a birthday gift, the Blu-ray from Jordan. So thanks to Jordan for that.
which I currently have in my possession and probably will keep for the next 6 months.
Yep, I'll be charging you a late fee. There was a couple of I mentioned. I wrote down what was it? Scream from The Simpsons. I don't know if I just made that up, but it turns out there was quite a few references to Silence of the Lambs in The Simpsons. There was an episode where people were doing auditions in front of Mr. Burns, and then it's actually like Hannibal Lecter that gets rolled out, and he does the thing with the tongue as well.
Yeah, is it not like is it not with like Steven Spielberg's like Spanish cousin or something like that?
I don't know. I don't remember in that much detail. But another reference, one of my favorite shows, Suits. They like a quote off, and there's actually I don't know if you remember. There's a scene where they go to bargain with a lawyer of sorts, and they start quoting one of the scenes from the movie. And
Was it
Harvey,
quid pro quo?
I think it was, yeah. He's like, the FBI. Like, Harvey joins in as well, but then Harvey's just like, oh, we don't have time for a quote off. But Mike was quite into it, so.
Yeah, I think Silence of the Lambs is one of these things like, for such a creepy movie, it does appear in quite a lot of pop culture, just because it's got like it's so memeable and so quotable. Like Anthony Hopkins just absolutely kills it, and like everything he says is just like pure gold or fool's gold. But yeah, it's such a good movie that seeped into pop culture. I see it in like Family Guy and all that kind of stuff. Like Stewie does like Hannibal Lecter's things and all that, and yeah, it's quietly crept in there.
That's the other thing I wanted to mention. Like I've known of the "Hello Clarice" thing for ages. Like I don't even remember where I heard it. Is it just a thing people say, people quote themselves, or have I heard it in like a specific TV show? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think that's what. See, when I was younger, I think I seen a lot of these pop culture kind of things, like parodies of it and things, and like these wee quotes. I never really understood what they were, and then I think I watched some of the movie, and I kind of got it. And then it wasn't until probably about 5 years ago, or something, I actually watched the whole thing and watched the rest of the Hannibal movies. I finally got it and understood what was going on. And then I was listening to like what's the script, and I really wish like Craig and Chris had come on because like their impressions are so good.
I know nobody wanted to come on with us for this one. We're feeling hurt, so those that are listening, if you fancy coming on future podcasts, please jump in. It gets lonely with just Paul to talk to.
To be fair, I think you've seen the pictures of you dressed up as Princess Leia on your stag do and thought, if I go in there, I might get a good skinning.
Yes. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I did a similar thing with The Shining. Like actually, like I'd seen the Simpsons Halloween episode so many times and like knew quite a lot about it before I actually watched it when we reviewed it last year.
Yeah, that's right. But just out of curiosity, before we get into it, remember your villains all-time top 10 villains list?
I've got a vague recollection. Like the Green
Yeah.
Goblin was in there.
I think he was your number one. I think.
That was round about when Spider-Man No Way Home came out as well.
Yeah. Do you think Hannibal Lecter might have just crawled his way in there?
I think that's something we need to discuss later on, Paul. That's a bit early, I would say.
Yeah. I just think he's such an icon. Just wanted to just check before it went in my mind.
Well, we could discuss that towards the end. Before we get into the actual review, though, I do have some seismic statements if you want to hear them.
Yes, hit me with some trivia because I've not
I don't-
actually looked at any yet.
I don't know why I ask you if you want to hear them, because I'm going to tell you them anyway, regardless of whether you want them.
Yep, I get paid an exorbitant amount of money to listen to you say this.
Well, the first one. So the original plan was for Hannibal to wear a yellow or orange jumpsuit, but the actor decided to wear white because he had a quite a common fear of the dentist, and he thought it would like make people feel on edge seeing him dressed up in those colours.
Fair enough. I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. I just thought he was in the mental asylum, so that's why they were white. I thought they all were white in the mental asylum.
No, it was a conscious decision by Anthony. So that was number one. Number two, probably won't surprise you. Hopkins visited prisons, studied murderers, and went to court cases as part of his preparation for the role.
That's some dedication to the cause. Sorry, my mute button just kind of stuck there.
It's all right.
That's some dedication to the cause. Because you don't know how these films are going to go. So, because I heard was it recently, that Anthony Hopkins, when he was doing the Thor movies, he was just like picking up a paycheck basically just because it was like a nothing role kind of thing. Like, it was an easy thing to do, didn't have to do it, and then he wasn't too bothered by it.
Oh, he was Thor's dad, wasn't
Yeah, he was Odin. So,
he?
yeah, so for him to go from like this to that, it's quite interesting. But he must have had a good insight into what the film was going to be like beforehand. So yeah, it's quite good.
Number three, I thought this one was quite interesting. Clarice was the inspiration for the character of Scully in X-Files.
Okay, I've not seen X-Files in ages, right enough, but I can see it. Have you ever watched X-Files?
Again, my only real. I have actually fancied watching it, but my main reference point is that episode of The Simpsons when Mr. Burns is actually the alien in the woods.
Oh yeah, and he's glowing and he's like hospital guinea.
So
One day I
there's
talk about X-Files. It traumatized me as a kid.
There's actually a quote in season 9, and it says something like, "I smelled you coming, Clarice." One of the characters says it. So they actually
I
reference
can
it.
hear it, but I can't remember who says it. Or who's it.
Yeah. Number 4. Again, this is the what effect is it? I was going to say the Draco Malfoy effect, maybe the Darth Vader effect. Hannibal Lecter is in the movie for less than 25 minutes.
Really? I thought it was in a lot more than that. Although he does miss probably the final third, doesn't he? Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's a lot to wait.
But I was thinking, like, see Buffalo Bill, like he's not really in the movie that much, and he's meant to be the main serial killer.
But less is more.
Yeah, I just remember watching it for the first time, and I thought he was in it a lot. And then when I watched it today, I was like, he's not. There's barely any scenes where he's actually in it. He just has these couple of bits, and that's it.
I can't remember the exact number, but there was only, I think Darth Vader was only in A New Hope for however long, not that long. And I was reading Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy's book, and I think he was only in the Harry Potter movies for like 20 minutes or something, all 8.
Hey, that'd be alright picking up a paycheck. That's hey, I'd like to make money, that amount of money for 20 minutes. We've been doing this podcast for how many hours have we been doing this podcast for? Say about an hour for how many episodes?
I don't know how many episodes we're at now.
We ain't making Tom Felton money. We ain't making
Don't worry,
money.
Paul. It's just a hobby. I got in my obligatory Star Wars reference.
You did. And Harry Potter. You've hit it double edged there.
Doesn't fail. And number 5, this is the third film that won the Big 5 Oscars.
Interesting. What are they?
Do you know what the Big 5 is?
I'm going to say Best Actor for Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
best female actor, Jodie Foster.
Yep.
What were you going to say there? Actor?
Yeah.
Best female actor.
We've got an actress ranking.
Oh yeah, so she wasn't on it. Best film.
Best picture is the
Best
official
picture.
term.
Best picture. Best music.
No.
Oh yeah. Best visual effects.
Nope.
Damn it! I don't know.
Director.
Who's the director?
I can't remember.
Son of a gun.
I'm not even going to look it up because that'd be cheating. And best screenplay.
The director was Jonathan Demme. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, or Jonathan Demme. And it was a screenplay by Ted Talley. Sorry, on you go.
And if anyone's listening, well, there will be people listening. I'm confident on that. If you know what the other two movies were at that stage, you can let us know in the comments when we post the episode.
What two movies? What?
Oh, it's the third. It's the third movie to win the Big Five. So who?
Oh, right, okay. Got you. Sorry.
We still need to do a quiz episode. We can talk about that at the end. I'm up for that.
Oh, that's true. Yes, we do.
Couple of bonus points. Sean Connery was supposed to be Hannibal originally.
You know what? I literally heard that about. I don't know. When I was on my dog walk there before we went on this, I was listening to What's the Script, and they were talking about it, and I don't think it'd be the same because I don't think Sean Connery does any voices apart from his own. So it's just when he landed, I think.
No, I think they worked it out well in the end. Another bonus one was that Buffalo Bill's dance was improvised.
What they
weird
told
dance.
They told him to dance, and he just danced the way he wanted, or he just dressed up and thought, "I'm going to dance. Turn the camera on."
I may be wrong, but I think the whole dance was just improvised.
How good was Buffalo Bill though? Oh,
I know.
He's such a good actor.
Also, but before he did the scene, I was told he had a couple of shots of tequila for some Dutch courage.
No wonder. It's pretty ballsy, especially in the 90s, because it's people are a lot more skeptical back then and not open-minded when it comes to these things. So it was quite a ballsy move, but he played it well, and it's pretty iconic.
And the best fact of all, he never actually says hello, Clarice, at any point in the movie. It's like good evening and different things. So it's like one of those
the Mandela
things.
effect.
So he never actually says it because I was watching the movie and I also knew the quote, and I remember just sitting there waiting for it, and it never came. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Does it not actually? Really?
No, he doesn't.
That's weird. I thought that was like the most iconic line from this film.
A lot of lines are misquoted though. Like I was watching Karate Kid again because I love that movie. We need to review the Karate Kid, by the way. And there's a quote. It's like, "Get him a body bag," but I thought it was like, "Put him in a body bag" or something. I totally misquoted it, even though I thought I knew it. So it's just an example of sometimes you mishear things.
Yeah, well, that's like Scary Movie 2. Like the butler guy, and everyone goes, "Take the strong hand, child." Never actually says it ever. It's just not in the film, and everybody says it.
It's like sorry for the second Star Wars reference, but like people thought it was "Look, I am your father," but it's "No, I am your father." Sorry for the spoiler for Empire Strikes Back from 1980.
Reality shattered.
So that's the end of the seismic statements. Hope you enjoyed them. Credit to IMDb, as always, for doing the research. Although I do want to credit a YouTube video I was watching, which might influence some of the points that I make. It's called Collative Learning. And it was a video called "The Hidden Depths of Silence of the Lambs" film analysis. So there was some good points in that I might reference at some point.
Nice. You've been doing your research. I've been just spamming Scotland v Georgia videos, all because I'm you're buzzing off the football. That's
I didn't
all
even
I've been
bother
doing.
watching.
That's all
I
I've
didn't even
nothing to
bother
do.
I didn't bother
I've watched.
watching the end of that game because it ran on so long that I just couldn't be bothered anymore.
We were at my brother's house, and see, as soon as the game finished at 11:20, he just turned the TV off, and he's like, "Right, time to go."
Mm-mm-mm.
I was
I would have done I would have done the exact same, David. Don't worry. Right, well, we get right into the review of it all then.
Yes, sir.
So I've got a few questions for you, which I'll drop in when I feels appropriate. So I'm going to start us off with one of my notes. I really liked the build up to the first meeting with Hannibal when she's getting like the lowdown on him and the precautions and the slow dramatic walk down to the cell at the end.
Yeah, it's all like you're saying. It's a build up, and they talk about the nurse that got attacked as well, don't they? Because he let his restraints loose or something for like 2 seconds, and he managed to. I don't know what he did because you never actually see the picture. But that's the kind of thing throughout this film. All the violence that happens off screen. You don't actually see any direct violence, really. It's all the
Not all,
aftermath, or it's just
not
not.
all
It's the
of
way it's
it.
shot.
Well,
Do you see anyone getting directly killed?
it was the guy in the cage who gets like.
But you see Anthony Hopkins swinging the stick. You never actually see the guy getting hit.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But just like we were saying earlier, like less is more, and I think seeing the other characters' reactions and imagining what had been done to the bodies, I think was very powerful.
Yeah, because see Jodie Foster's reaction when she's looking at the picture at the start, at the bit you're saying that, and it's just like, I want to see, but you can like, because she got like an eye taken out and stuff. So you know he's got some jaggy jumpers there.
His pulse didn't get over 80.
That's true. Like I do that just looking at a treadmill. I go over 80.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great sequence. Really set the tone for the film. I would
How much
say.
of a scumbag though is the Doctor?
I was at Chilton.
Chilton, yeah. I think I've only seen him in 2 movies. This one and I think it's Deep Rising, which is a great movie, by the way. You need to watch it one time. It's a monster movie, featuring the late Treat Williams, who just died. Rest in peace. And he's a scumbag in that and all. He's accepted as a billionaire scumbag in that. But yeah, he's just a scumbag in this. I hate him. Every time he opens his mouth, I hate him.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put that second one there. That's actually funny because that was actually my second note. I just wrote creepy doctor guy, Chilton.
Yeah, like within 2 seconds of meeting Clarice, he's just like, do you want to go on a night? He's staying overnight. You want to go on a night in the town, kind of thing. It's like, who does that? No way.
There's a lot of kind of nods to the fact that she's a female within the FBI. Like, there's a scene where she gets in the lift and there's like 10 guys, and there's the scene
about 6 foot plus.
There's a scene at the kind of funeral later where she asked them all to go away, and again, it's just another big group of guys. And one of I think maybe that video that I just referenced, she's just like walking like through the training center, and like a guy just kind of turns around and checks her out. So there's quite a lot of that. But I think it's on purpose. I think they're like intending to show that.
Yeah, I think so, because I think she was jogging with her pal, and there was like guys jogging past as well, and they were all heads on a swivel looking back.
That video that video Collective Learning that I was talking about made a good point that the music at the start is so like eerie and like foreboding, even though she's just out a jog. So it's setting the scene really early because nothing bad's actually happening at that stage.
Yeah. Usually that's the music playing in my head before I go out a jog. Just dreading it. Oh no.
So yeah, I thought it was a really strong start to the film.
Yeah, definitely. And it's saying the slow build up, and then when you meet Anthony Hopkins for the first time, it's just like, wow.
We
Like
can't
this
forget.
guy
We
is
can't forget.
creepy.
We can't forget Miggs.
Ah yes, Miggs. A bit overexcitable.
Yeah. So what did you make of Hannibal's portrayal then? Like, what were you expecting? Like, I didn't have. I had barely any knowledge about this film going in. So when I first saw him, I think it's obviously intentional. Like, he's not what you expect in the at first glance.
Yeah. I think when I watched it when I was like younger, I didn't really appreciate it for what it was. I just thought it was like some guy playing like a crazy person, you know. It's cool. When I watched it when I was older, it just brought on a new dimension because I knew who Anthony Hopkins was. Like he's as Welsh as it comes, and he puts on these different voices, and he's so good at it. And just that wee kind of look he gives when he's just like looking down, you can see his eyes, and just the way he moves, like yeah, he just comes across so creepy. Like he was born to play this role. Like he must have got really in depth when he was doing his research with the other inmates in courthouses and stuff. Like, see when you think of like insane asylum / like maximum security prison, like serial killer, you just always think Hannibal Lecter. And I think every time you think about serial killers in prison, it's just synonymous with Hannibal Lecter.
I read or listened somewhere that he had a friend that didn't blink, and it was really creepy. So that was something he brought into the character as well.
Oh yeah, I noticed that when he was getting transported off the plane, that he just was always staring at everything.
The thing is, like, obviously he's done unspeakable things like eating people and all that jazz, but he comes across as quite likable in a lot of the film, like particularly with Clarice. Like he's bordering on quite kind and fond of her and protective of her in a weird way as well.
Yeah, because and he's all about like kind of respect and courtesy.
He's very polite.
He is very polite, and I think it was a good choice to have Jodie Foster's character be quite frank and like forthright towards him, because it could easily have been like uh, Clarice being a bit evasive, and then him having to be like teasing it out of her and stuff. And I feel like I've seen that in movies before. Whereas this one is quite frank and having like good conversations, and they respect each other for it. Apart from when she lies about the Plum Island.
Aye.
Yeah, that doozy. But no, I quite enjoyed the dynamic between the two of them, and the fact that he was willing to psychologically torture Biggs because of indiscretions towards Clarice.
Because she just kind of came out with exactly what he had said in the way past.
And also, she got stuff in her hair.
Yeah, there was that.
She got Cameron Diaz.
What was I going to say? Because she's warned to like not give any personal information, and you don't want to get him inside your head. But she then proceeds to tell the stories and give him his quid pro quo as the film goes on to get what she wants.
But I think she's quite a mentally strong character. Like, I know she's had all this kind of childhood trauma that she ran away from and that, but she's not afraid to talk about it and confront it, even though she was a bit evasive when she first started talking about it. But I just think that she thinks because she's up and coming, she can handle it, and the risk of benefit outweighs the potential of Hannibal Lecter getting in her head, because like she's thinking like, what's the worst that can happen? He's in a jail cell. He's never getting out of here. Like, and I don't need to come back here if I don't want to. So if she can get this case solved, then happy days. That's what I think.
Because there's she's literally like a trainee at this point. Like there's the whole bit at the start where he wants to see her ID badge and he's like asking her to come closer and he's like, "Oh, you're not a real member yet." So
Yeah.
apparently the FBI were quite involved with the writing of this film in terms of getting it accurate, but the big thing they disagreed with was that she would have been allowed to go and track him down herself.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. Because when I was talking, did you ever watch Mindhunters?
I watched. How many seasons were there?
2, I think. Aye, 2, and then they
watched-
never made the third, even though it was amazing.
I think we've mentioned it before because I thought there was 3 seasons, but I think I said I hadn't seen the third season, and you were like, there wasn't a third season. I've definitely seen the first season, and I
Yeah.
remember the concept of them going to interview all the serial killers.
Yeah. Well, the boys from What's the Script, they were saying that Crawford, his character is actually based off the kind of Mindhunters.
Yeah, I saw that
characters.
somewhere. Yeah. So that's a good time to ask for me to ask the first of my 3 questions. I've kind of combined them together. So, who's your favorite member of the FBI/prison staff? Have you got a favorite in that kind of side of the film?
FBI and prison staff. What about the cops? Do they count in it as well?
Okay, why not?
I quite like. Oh god, I can't remember his name. Is it? I think it's Tate. He was the cop that was at the front desk, and then he's on the radio in the elevator saying like, "You think he's on the elevator and stuff." He was on kind of in charge of the cops that were going up the stairs and stuff. I quite liked him. I don't know why. I just liked his mustache. And he was the kind of authority figure. Don't get me wrong, I quite liked the cops that were looking after him while he was in the cage, because they were like quite courteous towards him. They're like, if you don't give us any trouble, we'll treat you right and all that kind of thing.
See, just some of the stuff that Lecter came out with, though. See, when he's in his kind of like his what do you call it? What do you call it in like a shop when you're like pushing the crates about?
What?
You know, when you worked in Morrison's, when you push like big pallets about. He's basically in one of them.
Oh, he was in a big cage?
I know, but he was getting pushed about as well, like wheeled about.
Oh, right, in a dolly.
A dolly.
I was so confused about talking about that.
See, when he's having the conversation with the girl that's been kidnapped's mum, the senator.
Yeah.
And it's just some of the things like. He calls her back at the end. He's like, "I like your suit."
Yeah, because he has like these wee spells where he's like utterly fascinating. He comes out with these big long spells, or he's giving clues, and you're like hanging on every word, and then he just punctuates it with like some mad thing that's totally catches you by surprise. Like
it's just horrible, just randomly.
Yeah, we're talking to the police, and he'd be like talking away about the case, and he'd be like, "So, do you think your boss wants to get it with you?" I was like, did your farmer cousin touch you in the backseat of the farmer truck? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I know. I think that's what his kind of perverted side sneaks out and away from his courteous side, because he starts off that conversation when he's in the dolly saying that he's not going to waste time asking for like petty rewards when
Yeah.
people's lives are at stake, and then at the end of it, he's just like saying like really horrific things to the senator.
Yes. Very nipple centric.
Yes. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. I'm just looking back at my. One of my notes was just Hopkins terrifying.
By the way, it's hard to hear you when your face is past the mic.
Oh, sorry, I'm still getting used to this. On to. Oh, I didn't give my answer actually. Obviously, with my screen name, I like Big Barney. Just such a lovable guy.
Yeah, he's very motivating. He'll
But
do
you
good.
said
He'll do good.
you said his name a minute ago. The guy that was a kind of the mentor, Jack Crawford.
Crawford, yeah.
He just seemed like a really nice guy. Really kind and just kind of looked out for her and like wanted the best for her. So I thought he just seemed like a really decent guy.
Yeah, no, I quite like him as well. I'm trying to find Scott Glenn. He was Jack Crawford. Okay.
Yeah. He's actually in. He's in something that. Oh, he plays. Oh, who is it? That's going to bug me for the rest of the day now.
He's in Daredevil.
Yes, you're right.
He's sick.
Yes, that was it. Thank you. You saved me a lot of soul searching there. So that was good. So my next kind of note was around the abduction with the van, and it was just from Buffalo Bill, and it was just like you're just watching it like, why would you go and do that? Like so many red flags. Like he asked you to like stand like behind the furniture as it's getting dragged in.
I know. It's the 90s, man. Nobody cared.
I know, but just see the second time I watched it, I'm just like, just go in the house.
I know. But say that, see nowadays, like nobody would do that because like social media and just everyone's scared of anything to do with anybody.
Right.
And see, especially because it's America. If anything happened, they'd be getting sued because see if you probably helped that guy and you just dropped it a wee bit at the couch, you're getting sued, lose your house. That's America.
Sorry
for American listeners, I'm just very skeptical of the suing system.
And the bit when he's like, what was it? Did he ask her how much she weighs or something like that? Or what size?
What size her dress is? Like your size 14.
And then he picks up the clothes after he's started like cutting her up, and he's like, yes, 14.
Saves going to ASOS.
Did you like clock what the end goal was with the women and the size? The comments about their size and stuff. Did you kind of like realize what was happening as you went, or did it not until they revealed it?
Well, when I thought he was just like collecting trophies and stuff, I didn't realize he was actually making a skin suit.
It's a bit weird, wasn't it? The saddest part in the whole movie, related to the scene we were just talking about, when the wee cat's waiting at the window for her to come home and she's never coming home.
Oh no! How long can cats survive without food?
I don't know, but I was really sad watching that. But I was like, oh, that's a shame.
But to be fair though, was she not only away for? Was it the senator's daughter that get kidnapped in the back of the van, or was that somebody else?
No, that was her.
Was it her? Right. Oh, she was only away for 2 days then, because by the end of day 3 she'd be dead. So she was only away.
If I was away for 2 days and my cats didn't get fed, they would be most unhappy.
I'm sure the senator's mom was like, the senator would be like, "You look after that cat."
Oh, it was so sad. Honestly, I felt really sad about that. Right. So we talked earlier about the fact you don't see a lot of the violence, but as the film goes on, you start to see like kind of what's been done to the victims. Like there's the one where the other girl's on the slab, and you see like what's been done to her, and that's where I started to struggle a wee bit with the film. Just I don't like seeing things like that, particularly like what had been done to the body and like how it was looking and things like that.
Yeah, and it looked pure minging, man. Like you could just smell it through the screen. It's like the sewer at your house.
Aye, I know.
You should have just opened
Don't
your
remind
you
me.
should have opened your window and watched that scene. It just give you the perfect 4D experience.
It must just be the weather. It's the seaweed. I don't know what's going on this year. I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm not. I'm glad I'm not currently trying to sell the house.
Yeah, if anyone's wondering, we live in a seaside town, and the bay that we live in is absolutely stinking because the tide goes out and the seaweed just heats up with us heat, and it's just in sewage, and it's just stinky.
Are you going to edit that bit out?
Nope.
Yeah. So what we're talking about. So yeah, that was where I struggled a bit. I feel like I'm fine with hearing about what happened, but see when I actually saw what happened, I did struggle a bit with that bit.
Yeah. Like
No,
it's
not
not,
like
it's
not
not, it's not
excessively so. It's just would rather
yeah,
not see it.
not the worst I've seen. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but I think it does well to keep it to a minimum. Like obviously you could see like the minging fingernails and all that, and there was a couple of bits where like when he's bring up the light up the well, and you can just see all the bloody scratch marks from people that have tried to claw their way out before. So that was a pretty good shot. I think probably the most minging bit was the body in the bathtub in the basement of Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
When Clarice finds it, I was like, oh, she is going to need some bleach for that.
If Breaking Bad has taught us anything.
Oh yes. They're the boys for the job.
We're best stuck in a middle bit, so there's obviously Hannibal gives her some like hints, like names and locations, and she goes to the storage unit, and there's the car, and they find the head. I've got a fun fact about the head.
Okay.
If I'm getting it right, it's kind of like what's it called when they make like a graft of
Prosthetic.
someone's. Yeah, kind of. So it's the likeness of the one of the producers of the film, I think.
All right. Okay.
There's also a big cameo later. You know how our good friends Kenny, the Night of the Undead, you know the original.
Yes.
The director of that is in the scene when Clarice is getting dragged away from Bill when he like strokes her finger. The
From
director of
Anthony Hopkins.
Aye.
You said Bill. Sorry, I was confused.
No, you know the scene where she gets the information and she's
Yeah.
getting dragged away with the agents. The one of the people dragging her away is the director of the original movie.
Romero.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Nice. I did not know that. It's pretty good. I need to look out for it next time. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and the screenwriter. What do you say? Was it Tyler?
Ted Talley, I think it was.
He's also in it somewhere. He makes an appearance somewhere in the film as well.
Oh, it'd be good to get a wee cameo in a movie.
Well, we should. Do you know what we should have done, Paul? We should have went in as extras for the Black Mirror episode in Vereri.
Hey, I didn't see advertising. I'd make a great cadaver. Or a whale on the beach.
So there's that clue. Sorry, I need to not lean back. There's that clue. I quite like the kind of mystery aspect of it, how there is kind of like twists and turns and fake stories and lies and deceit.
Yeah. Well, I need to ask, because I know sometimes you get bamboozled by plot twists. Did you know that Anthony Hopkins had stolen the guy's face?
Right, so I know the scene you mean. So when he's in the ambulance.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. Like, I wasn't surprised when he revealed it. I don't think I knew. I don't think I guessed it right away, but it wasn't a big surprise to me when it was revealed. I did like it though. I thought that was a top tier moment of the film.
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I watched it and I was like, "Oh my god, they shot him! They killed him!" And
I didn't think he was
that
dead.
poor
Obviously.
cop, that poor cop. I was like, "Oh, maybe that's just him dead in the top of the elevator." And then when he revealed they took the skin mask off, I was like, "Oh my god, I never seen that coming. That's amazing. That's the greatest thing ever."
See when he had the skin mask on, it reminded me a wee bit of Halloween.
What, the Mike Myers movie? The Michael
Yeah,
Myers.
yeah,
What, the actual mask itself?
yeah.
Don't know. Kind of reminds me of Freddy Krueger because his face is all cut to ribbons.
Yeah, true. There was a. I was looking up the significance of the mask that Hannibal wears. I think it's inspired by like a hockey mask. Is that right? Am I wrong?
What, the
You
psychiatric
know
mask?
the iconic mask he wears during the scene on the dolly.
The plane? I don't know. I haven't a clue actually. I thought it was just a standard thing they had for bitey people. The technical term for it, the bitey people mask.
There was something.
You talking about Jason from Friday the 13th? No.
It is an upside down goalie mask purchased from a sports store in Manhattan.
Oh, fair enough. It's quite funny how the iconic horror masks are just like weird, mundane things that aren't like custom made for it. Like you're saying, like the Michael Myers mask was what do you call it? Was William Shatner's face.
So talking about the villainous masks, my second question of the podcast was: there's two big villains in this film. There's
Mm-hmm.
Bill and there's Hannibal, and I think I already know your answer probably. Who was your favorite out of the two?
Dr. Chilton.
Yes, that's what I thought. There wasn't an option C.
I don't know. Obviously, my favourite has got to be Anthony Hopkins, just because he's just very intelligent, very witty. But he also has that dark side to him. I do think Buffalo Bill's character is quite an interesting character, but you don't see a lot of him. You just see that kind of weird tame side to him when he's like, you put the lotion. No, is it? It says they put the lotion in the basket or something. They put the lotion on their skin.
The lotion in the basket.
Put the lotion in the basket. Put the lotion in the basket. You know what? I can't remember. There's a Jeremy Piven movie where he does that impression, and I thought it was so funny. I had no idea what it's from. And then I seen that, I was like, oh my god, it's from this.
You don't see a lot of Bill, but what you do see is pretty memorable. And I think keeping him, I've mentioned it numerous times tonight, but I am a big fan of less is more, and that's what you want from a villain, I think, or a creature feature.
Yeah, because like serial killer movies have been done to death, pardon the pun. There's always a hunting them down, and you see them getting every victim and stuff. But in this one, it's almost all happened, and you're just catching the aftermath. And he's just caught his latest one, but it's all about getting Lecter. Lecter's a tool to find Buffalo Bill, so it's all focused on that, which I quite liked. I think it was Chris from What's the Script. He was saying that there was a kind of fan theory that Buffalo Bill was made by Hannibal Lecter, so that he had a kind of get out of jail free card at some point that he could use his knowledge to bring him down and get like an easier sentence or possibly an opportunity to escape.
That would make perfect sense, actually.
Yeah, because he seems to know a hell of a lot about him for never meeting him, kind of thing.
Yeah, how great's that end scene, by the way, when he phones Clarice, and he's just sitting chilling in like a sunny climate.
Yeah,
And
and he's rocking the hair.
and she keeps saying, what is it she says on the phone? Is it like Dr. Lecter? Dr. Lecter?
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a good scene, and
obviously,
he's on the trail of Chilton.
aye, so he's obviously like, I'm meeting a friend for dinner. The first time I watched it, I was like, are they is it some kind of conspiracy with Chilton? Is he like in on it? But he's planning to eat him, all right?
Yeah, oh yeah, because what do we say? Chilton is a scumbag because he's all about the fame for himself. He thinks he's the big getting information. He's like, oh yes, I've got the information. But it's all baloney because it's just one of Lecter's anagrams just taking the piss at them all. But yeah, I hope Chilton tastes very nice because he was a right bam. And I hope he got his just desserts.
So a bit I really liked about the film was just the simplistic nature of Hannibal's like desires, like you know how he'd like drawn like or was it he did like paintings that he'd done because he didn't have a view, and the things he wanted was just like a view of the trees or the water, and you actually kind of felt a bit sad for him when he wasn't going to get that. Like I don't know, if he's probably meant to be quite sympathetic despite his dastardly deeds, but I don't know. I felt a bit sorry for him at times when he wasn't getting like his his wee small rewards and his wee walk on the beach.
So we dip, what was it? Toes in the sand and swim for an hour on Anthrax Island.
That scene was funny because it was like with maximum security, so it was like you get to go in the water, but you'll have maximum security.
Yeah, have a SWAT
So
team surveilling you the whole time.
It wasn't as free as he maybe thought it would be.
Yeah, to be fair, what do you expect?
But
Can't
he had
expect to
the
murder a few people and eat a few people and be like, yeah, you get a week off from jail. Stay what you want. Stay what you want. Just don't swim away.
Well, it all worked out for Hannibal in the end, eh?
It did indeed.
Have you ever watched the series? Is it Mads Mikkelsen that plays him?
Yes, it is, and I've heard good things about it. Every time I talk about, I was talking about Silence of the Lambs to a few people, and they're all saying that you should watch Hannibal the TV series because it's like top notch. And I like Mads Mikkelsen. I think he's a really good actor, so I'd quite like to give it a go at some point.
Hey, there was a.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but I looked it up on Netflix, and that's how I knew that he was in it. Just
Right, okay.
after I watched the film.
Good old
There
Galen
was
Russell.
Did you have any confusion over the title of the movie up until the point? Did you ever think why it was called Silence of the Lambs until you hear the story about the lambs?
To be
Or
honest, I
did you
never
not
really
think
thought
about
about it.
it?
I just thought it was like a cool title. Like you get just random ones like To Catch a Spider, like Silence of the Lambs. I didn't really think about it, to be honest, too much. And then obviously the tie-in with the story was pretty cool. Pretty chilling.
Pretty
What about
Chilton.
you?
Pretty Chilton.
Pretty Chilton.
Yeah,
Who's that?
Chilton's the creepy guy. Dr. Chilton.
Yeah.
You
What are you
said
talking about?
pretty chilling, and I said pretty Chilton.
Oh, right. I was so confused there. I was like, what are you talking about?
You can edit that out if you want.
Probably.
No, I wasn't confused. I was just like waiting for the relevance to pop in. And that review I was talking about earlier made a good point that when Clarice was hunting down the missing girl, that was her like trying to save the lambs, like metaphorically speaking.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Don't really think about it, like because I don't know about you. Do you eat quite a lot of lamb?
I don't mind a lamb curry.
Yeah, like There was a point a couple of months ago where I seriously considered going vegetarian for like a good couple hours because I was working enough up country, and there was just like loads of sheep in a field, and they had like all wee families and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is pretty sad that these get killed and eaten. I'm like, oh,
I don't eat lamb
so
often. I have a lamb curry every now and again.
yeah, I'm just saying like it's not a big thing. It's just you can imagine if you worked on a farm and you heard those things, that'd be god awful.
Hmm.
And then what does Hannibal Lecter do after hearing this? He gets extra rare lamb chops. The dirty bugger.
Right. Yeah, what was
I can't hear you.
Sorry. I was I'll need to. That's something for me to work on. It's hard to stay in the same place the whole time though.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if there's any additional wee notes that I made. A sad cat. We talked about that. The bit. See, we talked about it earlier, but see when he strokes her fingers when she's getting pulled away. That's the only physical contact they had in the whole film.
Yeah, no, understandable. Yeah.
There's quite a graphic image when the blood splatters from the policeman onto the plate of food.
Yeah, and he gets strung up and gutted.
The so when we talk about the end, like when Clarice ends up at the house, it's quite chilling to see Bill answer the door, and you're kind of just seeing him as like a normal guy or pretending to be a normal guy for the first time.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of like acting like he doesn't know anything and things like that.
Yeah. Hey, did you notice? Have you seen him in it before?
I don't know what's him.
He's the head warden in Shutter Island.
All right.
The kind of head prison guard.
Did we not do a review of that with James Patterson?
We did indeed. But it's funny because I think most of the things I see him in is either like a military figure or a police figure or something like authoritative or like a hunter or something. And then I look back and see this, I was like, Jesus Christ, that's so weird. But he's like a really good actor. Like he plays like a normal guy good. And then he plays the Buffalo Bill character and like all those different shapes and forms. Just really well. Like he's got a good range.
I like seeing all these links. It's like between our reviews, it's like the seismic verse.
Until it implodes in itself.
Talking about imploding on themselves, I've got my last question, which was, what was the most gruesome / hard to watch part of the film for you?
I don't know. Probably like you were saying, like the mortuary scene. Just because he pulled like that chrysalis out of his mouth, and I was like,
oh yeah, we haven't even touched on the insects and things like that.
oh yeah, was it a death's head moth? Is that right?
Oh, there was see when Clarice went to the insect experts, and there was like two guys. One of them was really creepy.
Was that a cross-eyed one?
Aye.
It's just like, you hitting him? He's like, yep.
He was funny.
Then the guy's like, it's funny because his attention's all on Clarice, and then as soon as the guy's like, oh, I found what this insect is, the guy's like, yes, what is it? He's like totally forgets about Clarice. It's quite funny.
Yeah, he was pretty harmless in the end. Yeah. So, you got any final closing thoughts on? You glad you got? Is this the first time you watched it properly? Would you say?
Second time, probably. I watched it years ago, properly for the first time.
Was it an enjoyable experience to rewatch it?
It was. I found it a wee bit don't know. I found myself losing interest a couple of times just with the flashbacks and stuff.
Is that the bits with the dad?
And sometimes I found it quite hard to hear some of the bits. Like when Anthony Hopkins was talking really fast to tell Clarice things, I didn't have the subtitles on.
Oh,
Like,
rookie mistake. You always got to have the subtitles on.
I know, like, when Miggs does that thing and she runs back towards him and he tells her a big clue. I couldn't really understand what he was saying. And I missed the clue because I was like, how did she end up at that U-Haul place, the storage lockers?
Why you
I had to go
always
back
have
and
the subtitle?
I know
Always
what
have the
should have.
subtitles on. You
Yeah.
don't miss things that way.
But how cool was it that Anthony Hopkins managed to get a guy to swallow his own tongue? That's how crazy psycho he is.
Aye.
I thought that was quite a chilling thing as well. Like he was just whispering to
Definitely.
him the whole afternoon.
Right, Seismic Stars. I've actually wrote mine down this time so that I don't have to have that awkward moment on air when I'm waiting on it.
Do you want to go first since you never get to go first?
Okay. So I think I took some off just. I don't know. Sometimes like it's an experience of watching a film and see like some of the bit we talked about in the mortuary and like seeing like even just bits like that could kind of put me off like maybe like future rewatching a film. But I did think I thought the tone was great. I thought obviously Hopkins and other performances were great. It's a really kind of layered film and it's got a lot of like hidden meanings and twists and turns and there's a lot of memorable characters from like the baddies to the FBI agents to the police officers. So I gave it, although see now that I'm talking about it, I gave it an 8. But I've really enjoyed talking about the film. So I'll stick to 8, but I probably could have been tempted to push it up maybe to a 9.
It's nice. It's fair enough. I'm probably just going to go slightly higher. Probably going to be 8.5. Like it's a good film. Like I said, it doesn't show you a lot. It tells you a lot. I think the dialogue's just really good. It's just really natural, but done in a way it's really clever. Like I really like the dialogue between Clarice and Hannibal Lecter. Just think it's top notch. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It's hard to say because I don't really know what I'm knocking it down for. I just find it a bit confusing in parts how people come to conclusions that they got to. But it's maybe even the subtitles and I can see what they're actually talking about. But yeah, 8.5 is like a really good solid movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I'm glad that I finally got to watch it. It's quite interesting that I was saying that some of the scenes put me off a wee bit because there was actually what's that? Gene Hackman. You heard of Gene Hackman?
Colin, who hasn't heard of Gene Hackman?
You might not have. I don't know. Well, he turned down the role.
He's like a movie legend.
Well, he turned down the role of Hannibal because he thought the script was too dark, and he wasn't the only. I can't remember who else was, but there was other actors that turned it down because of the material as well.
Fair enough. There's a lot of choice words in there.
They wanted Michelle Pfeiffer to play a Clarice originally.
That'd have been interesting.
That was another one in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're getting 8.5.
8.5. And you said you hadn't been watching too much recently. Have you got any PK picks you want to share?
I really haven't been listening to much at all. I was listening to What's the Script today. I listened to half their Signs episode and half their Silence Alarms episode just to kind of gear me up for it, because I need a good laugh. And I was also listening to the Scottish football podcast, and Hampden Roar podcast, because I've been listening to a lot of Scottish football recently, because we're having a tremendous run in the Euro qualifiers, and I can't stop listening to people gush about it, and I'm just pure buzzing.
There's always disappointment round the corner.
Shut up.
Well, I got on to sharing some of the tweets.
Yes, sir. Because I think you've got a fair few, don't you?
Yeah, we've had a really good response on Twitter. We usually ask people just to share their highlights and memories of the films. So, got quite a few wee shout outs to give, and we love to promote other indie podcasters on this channel, and it's something we're really going to push forward with in the months to come. So, first shout out goes to What's the Script, the main account. It says, this film inspired an ongoing reply between me and my brother. Whenever we talk about a good-looking woman, we'd reply, was she a big girl? Indicating that we were both into fat chicks.
I can just imagine Chris saying that enough.
So thanks for that. Our good buddy James, who came on the thing recently, said that Hopkins played the part brilliantly, and the way he speaks is quite chilling. And then he quoted, I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. I didn't do the voice, but still. And I actually posted it more than once, so got a few other suggestions. We've got Craig from What's the Script saying, tremendous movie, more chilling than all out frightening, but frightening just the same. Chris and I are big fans, as you know, having done a pod on it. And then he quoted, ready when you are, Sergeant Pembry. I think we've cheated a wee bit in the putting it in Jump Scare June. It's not really a jump scare kind of movie, but I hadn't seen it before we planned it, so I just kind of went with it.
Yeah, to be fair, it's just a horror month. We're not doing no jump scares here, just horror month.
A couple more. We've got our good pal from our Halloween episode, Stu World Order, who I'd love to do another collaboration with if the opportunity arose. Just an all-round good guy. He said his parents took me to see this in the theatre when it came out, and parts of it were filmed near to Stu. Sounds like more irresponsible parents like our Billy.
You say Billy's name in vain.
That's a wee in joke from last week. And then Stu went on to say he was probably 9 or 10 when it came out, and he remembered liking it, but kind of bored the less Anthony Hopkins was in it. And I think we can agree that the film definitely wouldn't have been hurt by more Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. What age rating is this, by the way? Because there seems to be a lot of 10 and 11-year-olds getting into this film. Unless they're like really old looking.
I can't remember. But we've still got another 3 to come. We've been very popular. So the Quad Pro Quo podcast said that the scene between Lecter and Starlin was the inspiration for their podcast. Well, the inspiration for ours was a really cool sound in Attack of the Clones. It's a movie I wish I'd been old enough to see in the theaters. I can only imagine how shocking it must have been in the early 90s. One of the best movie endings too. Can't wait for the ep. So thank you to them for sharing that. And
it's quite funny how different things inspire different podcasting.
Yeah.
Podcasting. Do you think ever when they were doing these scenes thought one day somebody's going to name a podcast after this scene? Quite funny, isn't it?
No, probably not. Yeah, but I must admit, it would be really cool to have seen some of these classic movies we've been watching when they first came out. But
we should wait till they're like 40 years old or something, and then watch them when they come back in cinemas for the re-release.
Yeah. And we've got 2 more. I'll be tired at this rate. We've got Breakfast Club said that his wife and him watched the films back to back recently. They're so good. I don't know what he meant by these films. Was it the films related to Silence of the Lambs, or was it like things we've been watching, like The Thing? I don't know.
No, there's like Silence of the Lambs, and there's Hannibal, and then there's like Hannibal Rising, and there's quite a few of them.
That's probably what they said. And it said the mashups of various movie people dancing to Goodbye Horses are so good.
Yeah, see that video? It's the guy from Napoleon Dynamite dancing to that song. It's really funny.
And the last one is Chat Tsunami, another friend of the podcast. It was our Mandalorian ranking episode that he came on.
He was, yes. Good guy, that. Fellow
Um,
Scotsman.
Fantastic horror film. I actually saw a special screening of this in Kelvin Grove, and it just added to the terror. Well, I'm very jealous of that.
I didn't know they did things like that in Kelvin Grove. I went there and it was like Elfin Grove for Christmas. I was like, I didn't see no cinema in there.
You ever been to
Just
the wee
big mo-
cinema? And there's like a wee tiny cinema in Ashton Lane. You ever been to it?
I've not been
And
to it.
you
Is that
can
another
take
place
you
you
can
can
take
take drinks and stuff?
you can take beer in that into it. Yeah,
Oh, I should do that one day.
we should do that. We seismic cinema day out. We need a corporate retreat, by the way.
We do. Also, there's got one more comment as well.
There's a new one.
There's a new one from Kev at the Sons and Shadows podcast. They're really good guys, good supporters of the show. And Kev says, my aunt took me to see Silence of the Lambs in the theatres when I was 11. Snuck in again. Because I was a bit of a nut for villains. He's a man after my own heart. I walked out with a new favourite fictional character and a strong interest in psychology. I thought I was going to say something else there.
Cannibalism.
Yes. Cannibalism and Chianti. And I even have an Anthony Hopkins autograph on a still from Hannibal. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Auction it.
Auction it. And yes, get it on eBay. Make the monies. Come on, keep it forever.
Well, I know
Just like Colin Simon Pegg memorabilia and his picture with.
You want to get chewed? Yeah, I'm sure Paul will share my appreciation to all the people that took the time to reply to us, and we hope you've enjoyed your shout out. And everyone should definitely go and check out all these great podcasts.
Yep, 100%. Some absolute belters in there, and like they always say, like the indie podcast is just rich, full of amazing characters and amazing shows. Lots of great people out there working hard and making great content. So yeah, discover what you can and keep rolling with it, because there's some fantastic ones out there, and the ones that we just mentioned, absolute bellers.
It is crazy because like we've been doing this for a year and a half now, and you'd have thought at some point we would have just chucked it, but something that always brings you back to it. I don't know if it's the buzz of actually recording or just chatting to the people online.
I've been trying to chuck it for 6 months, but you keep telling me I need to edit episodes, so I need to stay on it.
Shh. Shoo. Anyway, before me and Paul fall out, so just to end up, remember you can follow us as under Seismic Cinema on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So make sure you give us a follow, give us a shout out if you fancy coming on to do a review. If you're an indie podcaster or screenwriter or director or author and you want to come on and promote your stuff and talk about movies, then please get in touch. We'd be delighted to have you on. You can also check out this podcast video form on YouTube and now Spotify, and you can listen to the audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the other podcasting stations. We've also got a website, seismiccinema.com, which you should check out. You should also, if you fancy, although I've got a mic now, so what's the point? You can buy us a coffee. We can maybe bid on that auction for that autograph. And we've also got a subscription service from Spotify for podcasters. And if you subscribe for the low price of $2.99 a month, you can listen to our interview with Jeff Menapace, the author of the Bad Game series, because that's the only one that I've made subscription only. But I should probably remove it from that so that people can actually listen to it, because people aren't going to pay.
Probably not. And the buy me a coffee, StreamYard isn't cheap, so I'll probably go towards that.
Oh, on that note, Paul, it's came out of my bank, so if you can square me the money over the next few days, that'd be great.
Son of a bitch. Right, Colin, what's our tagline?
Our tagline is the power of taking a walk on the beach and going to be swimming the water while under maximum security and eating some fava beans.
I like it. Bit mixed up at the end there with the fava beans. I liked it, but good effort. Good effort.
Thank you. So this was our review of Silence of the Lambs. I'm buzzing. I can finally say I've seen another classic movie as part of our jump scare June. Just forget the fact that this wasn't really a jump scare movie. If you want a real jump scare, you should go back and listen to our episode of The Thing, which was another really enjoyable episode. Sorry, what's the script, but we patched Insidious because of scheduling conflicts, but we are going to be reviewing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, thanks to the wonders of YouTube and Kenny Scott Guffey, on Sunday evening.
Yes. Good stuff, Matt. Good stuff. I think that's us, isn't it?
Yeah, so thank you for listening, checking us out, and those who got involved in the comments. And we will see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.